Hey y'all, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, along with my homestead honey Michelle. And if she's looking really buff right now, she's been really working out. Look at those muscles. Hercules. Look at her. Look at those muscles. Anyhow, if she's a little cranky and cantankerous in this video, you know the reasons why. She's been running up and down this doggone driveway, working out for a hardcore event she has coming up, and and then doing all the other stuff she does around here, cooking. She wants everybody fat around here except her. So anyway, if you hear a little pig noise in the background, it might be these guys up here. Little side note, this is really not what we're after today, but take a look at this. This is what they do. This invasive silvergrass that everybody says you can't do anything with, they not only knock it down, they eat it, and if it's too rough, they just push it over. And it's pretty cool, the succession of what happens behind it. Look at where they were. It looked exactly like that. I mean, this is like something straight out of Gorillas in the Mist. You can't even walk through that stuff, and these guys are knocking it out. But right up next to them, what do we got? That's what's going to bring us today. I mean, this was or is a bunch of potatoes out here, and they've died back. And by the way, folks, zoning and permaculture, any scraps we get out of here, we got a couple of places. We can put them anywhere, really. Put them in the compost down there for the chickens. But look what's right next to us. We got a little walking four-legged garbage disposal. Not really, but you get the point. Anything that we wanted to give them, maybe these leaves on the potatoes ain't the best thing in the world, but they are situated close to the garden, y'all. So any scraps that we have near here, and so important in permaculture, because we try to put things in close proximity, close relationships to the places they're going to go. What is that look for? What are you doing?
Just showing my flower.
What is going on?
Just showing my flower.
Oh yeah, you're a flower, you are, honey. Oh, you talking about that? Oh, I got you. Anyway. So it's off and running. We're going to dig these suckers up, and I think we're a little bit late on it, aren't we?
Yes, we probably could have dug them up a while ago.
Yeah, but that's the nature of, doing what we do out here. We got so much going on. Right here in this bed, we got a bunch of potatoes that need to come out. In fact, down in the food forest, we got a bunch down there too that were more of an experiment. In fact, everything we have in the food forest in terms of annuals are largely experiments, because that ground is nowhere near ready to be planting anything. But you know what? At least we're finding out. So we'll get down there and do that harvest at a later date. But right now, up here at the top of the hill, in close proximity to the pigs and everything else that we have around here, we got these potatoes. So what are they?
Red potatoes.
Not the best color person in the business for nothing, y'all.
No, we're not gonna give the tops to the chickens because potatoes are part of a nightshade family, and so they're really not the best for livestock or humans.
Right.
So we're just gonna compost them.
Well, and everybody remember, we got compost that turns on the outside of the cage in the chicken tractor on steroids. Anybody new here, go back and check that out. It's pretty darn cool. So when we take our compost cage on the other side, we'll go ahead and mix these greens in with it. We're not going to stick it in there with the chickens just in case. Besides, we got no shortage of things, especially as of late. What was it you just filled up buckets of today that we're going to take down?
The summer squash. I cleared a few summer squash out of these beds, so I just chopped them up and put it in buckets to take down to the compost. Did you feed some to the pigs?
Yeah, I gave a few to the pigs up there. They'd rather eat this silvergrass, it looks like.
Well, I think they were eating them.
Yeah, they'll get down to it. But that's the cool thing about these pigs, y'all. I mean, they're actually overweight, and I'm barely feeding them. So I was touch and go about these guinea hogs at first, but I gotta say, man, they have their merits, and they definitely, in a preparedness setting, these are pigs you might want to consider for those of you out there that are into that sort of thing. Which, if you're a homesteader, like my friends Ben and Denise always say, that, preparedness is the next step in the journey. And I'm loosely quoting that, but you get the point. So what are we going to do?
Dig up potatoes and put them in buckets.
Are we going to take these tops off first?
No.
We're just going to leave it all right there.
Well, I'm going to pull them up with I'm gonna use the tops to pull
She's
them.
gonna use them muscles, y'all. That's why she's been working out. Hercules.
To dig
Hercules.
potatoes, is that why I've been working
That's
out?
how. Okay, tell them why you're working out.
No.
Flex on them, Mom.
Yeah, go ahead, flex. Come on,
Flex on
put
them.
that muscle out
You
there.
flex. How about you flex?
Hard as woodpecker lips, y'all, and sweet as bee pollen. All right, let's get to it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pull we have a little bit of hay that we used as mulch, but I just take the tops and try to pull up as many potatoes as possible. They don't always come, but if I can get a few of them, which I didn't, so never mind. That might not work. And then we're just gonna have to use the pitchfork to dig.
And look here. Cool. Look how many I have, honey. That little pulling technique there, y'all. I learned that in the swamps of Mogadishu. Ain't that right, Pig?
Don't throw them,
Yeah, that's...
Piggy, 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 piggy.
Woman, what are you doing?
I'm gonna get the potatoes.
Why?
The pig with potatoes.
No, because then they're going to start mowing this thing over. All right, see this shirt, y'all? It's my new favorite shirt. Came from my man Eric Sider. Check out his YouTube channel. And honestly, this shirt says it all. That's what I love about it, because it's for me the definition of elegance. Concise and simple. Says it all. Nitrogen fixing, folks. That's exactly what we do as permaculture designers, or at least you should be. I think you need to get your own bucket.
We had a couple of volunteer potato plants come up over here in between our squash, so I'm just digging these up.
All right, there we have it, y'all. No time at all. We got three 5-gallon buckets. Sorry, it's been a long day, and it's at the end of the day, and I still got a lot to do. So 3 5-gallon buckets full of these potatoes, and then those volunteers over there, she pulled some of those out of there. They turned out to be the biggest, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So going back to this stuff, by the way, these guys are getting all the throwaways, so they're over there kind of smacking around. All the ones that were compromised, well, they seem to be digging it. Well, it's not like we need to feed these guys at all. They seem to be getting fat enough on this silvergrass. So anyway, here we go, folks. Last time in one of these beds, this is a 4x12. Last time we got like a bucket worth.
Yeah, we didn't get very many.
We got maybe half. I don't even think it was a whole bucket. In fact, in that beginning little thing when we start every video, where she foolishly feeds Chloe that potato.
Why was it for?
Because she's digging up potatoes and eating them now.
No, she's not.
Anyway, yeah, that dog, that little black dog, and the other dogs we have, somehow they think they're herbivores. Who knew? How did that happen? Anyway, I think we got like a half bucket last time. Well, so what do you attribute, the
I
higher...
think it's the compost. We filled last year we had to get compost from outside, from a local source, and we've since been able to produce our own compost, and we filled the beds with it, so that would be the only difference.
Well, yeah, right out of the gate, y'all, we had to do, if you go check out the Modern Yeoman, he ran into the same problem, and of course we ran into it in several states now, where you buy some of that store-bought compost in a big compost yard. 9 times out of 10, that stuff is devoid of life, no nitrogen hardly at all, ever, and
or phosphorus or potassium.
right, there was really no life in it. I mean, it just looks like it's kind of halfway rich, but it's a little bit woody. Anyway, we started out with that stuff just to get started. When we first moved here, we had to start with that because we didn't have anything else. And that's what you need to do at first if you have to for these raised beds. So we started with that, wasn't great. And then slowly but surely, as we've been, this is why we produce so much compost, y'all, because that's exactly what's gonna happen next. This stuff is settled since the last time. We put a little bit of compost in there before. We're gonna go down there, take some of that compost we produced from that chicken tractor on steroids. Guess what's going on top? Yep. And then of course, this mulch that we have over here, we'll scatter it on top too. And then we're gonna plant, do we know what we're gonna plant next, or do you have any idea?
Probably maybe carrots, beets, maybe some cabbage.
Yeah, light falls in a weird way on this side of the house. I mean, it's a weird kind of place, but we had to put beds anywhere we could. Ideally, we would like them longer, but 4 feet wide is just about perfect for us, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't want them any wider.
Last time we also had issues with pests around here. And what did you do? Because I'm not trying to oversell this stuff. I'm just trying to give you an understanding of what she did.
We don't have any issues with like mice. I put bone sauce on the outside of these beds, painted bone sauce, like I think it was like right here. I might have done it at the top too. I don't remember. So
yeah, that bone sauce I made, so we were having problems before then. Was there rabbit issues and everything too?
Yeah, there was rabbit issues on those.
So she put bone sauce on there, and we're trying to find out exactly the full extent of what this stuff, we know, at least for the areas we've done it. I mean, deer just don't come around. So we've been trying it also in these beds, in these growing mediums, and seeing how it works there. Well, we haven't had any deer problems over here, and apparently we haven't had any other problems. Now, there have been rat problems over there with the sweet potatoes, but that's kind of, you know, we've talked about that in the last video and how we're going about fixing it. So here we are, y'all. Not bad when considering last year we got a bucket about this full, and half of those were just tiny, so it's improving. Tell them about the experiment we did down the hill with inside the food forest area.
So inside the food forest area, it's an area where we're working on building soil. So this winter time we put a bunch of cardboard down, and then we put wood chips on top of that. And it's slowly gonna break down, but in the meantime, we just planted some things in there just to kind of see how it did. And I did dig up a few potatoes for dinner a couple weeks ago, I think. And there's actually, I didn't expect them to do that well. I kind of just expected them to really not do a whole lot, and we were just going to leave them there and just let them build the soil. But I mean, there are a few down there.
So yeah, we're excited to see how that pans out. I mean, we'll talk more about it in the future, about the 2 different methods we use down there to go ahead and try this. So we're just throwing anything at it down there right now, but every single year as we go about these methods, the soil's only going to improve. You know, in the end, folks, I mean, yes, we want to yield, and we want to as best a yield we can get. In other areas, that's less important, like down in the food forest area. But in places like this, folks, it's like Jeff Lawton says, and I've been quoting him a lot lately, maybe because the man's a genius and everybody ought to check him out. That's who everybody should be watching. You know, and like I said, I'm loosely quoting it, but basically it's not that you're building great gardens, you're building great compost, which honestly, this is the byproduct of that. So we're off and running. You wanted to add something, honey?
There's an area along the driveway where we built up the soil last year. And the difference between that plot where we have tomatoes growing and the very bottom in the food forest where we just started building soil it's really amazing. And it's just 1 year time period.
Right. It was just sheet mulching. We took a small area down there to demonstrate Jeff Lawton's, once again, his instant garden for those that were just getting into this. We took that area, and in just 1 year, what it's doing now, folks, is jaw-dropping. That's how much you can improve your soil. I mean, it's really night and day. The growth of everything in there, the lack of disease, everything that's happening in these areas. So that's why instead of going through and weeding a bunch of times in the methods we use, 9 times out of 10, we just sheet mulch. We just cover it up with some, just like I go back to the modern yeoman, just like he's done recently in his last video, where instead of just going out there pulling a bunch of weeds, a lot of times, depending on the weeds, obviously if it's crabgrass, you got a different ball game there. Those of you in Texas know what I'm talking about. But in most cases, we end up sheet mulching and adding more and more and more and more compost. So that's really what we're after. And like I said, folks, this is the byproduct. This is how we look at it. This is the byproduct of good management of our soil. So really, is there anything else to add? Like I said, not the best color person in the business for nothing, y'all. Anyway, so until next time, this is Billy, the Permaculture Pimp Daddy, and Michelle, the Homestead Honey. We'll see y'all next time.